The day the dinosaurs returned. The small town of Cedar Ridge had always been a quiet, peaceful place. Nestled in a valley surrounded by dense forests and rolling hills, it was the kind of town where everyone knew each other by name. Life moved at a slow, predictable pace, until the day the ground shook and the roars echoed through the valley. It started with a low rumble, like distant thunder. The townsfolk paused, glancing at the sky, but there were no storm clouds. Then the ground trembled, and the windows of the local diner rattled. Mrs. Henderson, the town's oldest resident, dropped her teacup, shattering it on the floor. "Earthquake?" someone whispered, but no one had ever felt an earthquake in Cedar Ridge before. The rumbling grew louder, and the ground began to crack. From the edge of the forest, a deafening roar split the air. Birds scattered from the trees, and the townsfolk froze in terror. Emerging from the tree line was a creature straight out of a nightmare, a massive Tyrannosaurus Rex, its teeth glistening, its eyes blazing with primal fury. No! Panic erupted. People screamed and ran in every direction. The T-Rex let out another roar and charged into the town, its massive feet crushing cars and smashing through storefronts. The local bakery, known for its famous apple pies, was reduced to rubble in seconds. The diner's neon sign flickered and went dark as the beast's tail swept through it like a wrecking ball. But the T-Rex wasn't alone. From the forest, more creatures emerged. Velociraptors, their sleek bodies darting through the streets with terrifying speed. They leaped onto rooftops, their claws scraping against the shingles as they hunted for prey. A Triceratops, its horns gleaming in the sunlight, barreled through the town square, knocking over the statue of the town's founder. 12-year-old Tommy Parker watched in horror from his bedroom window. He had always been fascinated by dinosaurs, spending hours reading books and watching documentaries, but seeing them in real life was nothing like he had imagined. The sheer size, the raw power, the deafening roars, it was overwhelming. His heart pounded as he saw a velociraptor leap onto the roof of the house across the street, its eyes locking onto his. Tommy shouted, running downstairs. His parents were already barricading the doors, their faces pale with fear. Tommy asked, "What's happening?" Though he already knew the answer. The dinosaurs were here, and they were destroying everything. Outside, the town was in chaos. The sheriff, a grizzled man named Hank Thompson, tried to rally the townsfolk. He shouted, "Everyone, get to the community center. It's the sturdiest building in town." Firing his shotgun at a velociraptor that lunged at him, the creature screeched and retreated, but more were closing in. The community center, a large brick building near the center of town, became a refuge for the terrified residents. People huddled together, clutching their children and praying for safety. But the dinosaurs showed no mercy. The T-Rex slammed its massive head into the building, cracking the walls. Dust and debris rained down as the roof began to collapse. Tommy's father, a mechanic named Joe Parker, grabbed a crowbar and joined a group of men trying to fend off the velociraptors. Joe Parker, "We have to protect the kids!" he shouted, swinging the crowbar at a raptor that got too close. But the creatures were too fast, too agile. One by one the defenders fell, their screams echoing through the night. As the situation grew more desperate, Tommy remembered something he had read in one of his dinosaur books. "Tommy, fire! Dinosaurs are scared of fire!" He grabbed a lighter from the kitchen and ran to the storage closet where his father kept a can of gasoline. "Tommy, we need to make torches," he told his mother, who nodded and began tearing strips of cloth from the curtains. Together, Tommy and his mother lit the makeshift torches and handed them out to the remaining defenders. The flames flickered in the darkness, and for the first time, the dinosaurs hesitated. The velociraptors backed away, hissing and snapping their jaws. Even the T-Rex paused, its massive head tilting as it regarded the flames with suspicion. Tommy shouted, his voice filled with hope. But the victory was short-lived. From the shadows, a new threat emerged, a Spinosaurus, even larger than the T-Rex, its sail-like spine cutting through the night sky. The creature let out a bone-chilling roar and charged, its massive jaws snapping at anything in its path. The townsfolk fought bravely, but the Spinosaurus was unstoppable. It smashed through the barricades, sending people flying. Tommy's father was knocked unconscious, and his mother was forced to drag him to safety. The community center was in ruins, and the survivors were scattered. As dawn broke, the dinosaurs retreated into the forest, leaving behind a town in ruins. The streets were littered with debris, and the air was thick with smoke and dust. The survivors emerged from their hiding places, their faces etched with grief and exhaustion. Tommy stood amidst the wreckage, his heart heavy. Cedar Ridge would never be the same. But as he looked at the rising sun, he felt a glimmer of hope. They had survived the night, and they would rebuild. The dinosaurs had returned, but so had the resilience of the human spirit. And so the people of Cedar Ridge began to pick up the pieces, determined to face whatever challenges lay ahead. For in the face of unimaginable terror, they had found strength they never knew they had. The day the dinosaurs returned would be remembered as a day of destruction, but also as a day of courage, unity, and survival.